Today, we're diving into a world hidden behind the curtains of American politics. A world where billionaire families and secretive networks pull the strings that steer the nation's course. You've seen the campaign rallies and debates, but what about the shadowy forces shaping policies, controlling media narratives, and influencing democracy itself? From the powerful Mercers and Kochs to international financiers, these elusive families wield influence far beyond the spotlight, rewriting the rules of power in Washington and beyond. Stay tuned as we uncover the secrets of the hidden billionaire families, especially the one allegedly pulling Trump's strings, revealing a side of politics you've never seen before. The Mercer family: power through data, media, and money. One of the most compelling stories in recent political history involves Robert Mercer, a reclusive billionaire whose fortune stems from the financial algorithms that fueled Renaissance technologies. One of the most successful hedge funds in history, Mercer's influence on politics, especially during Donald Trump's rise, exemplifies how wealth can be harnessed to shape not just campaigns, but the very fabric of information that voters consume. Mercer's investments went beyond traditional donations. He pioneered the use of data analytics to micro-target voters, a strategy that revolutionized political campaigning. His backing of Cambridge Analytica, a firm notorious for harvesting social media data, allowed for highly personalized messaging designed to influence voter behavior at an unprecedented scale. During Trump's 2016 campaign, Cambridge Analytica's targeted ads and psychological profiling played a role in mobilizing and persuading segments of the electorate, showcasing how data can be weaponized in modern politics. The Mercer family's influence extends into the media landscape. Mercer's daughter, Rebecca Mercer, became a key player in funding Breitbart News, transforming it into a potent megaphone for Trump's populist and nationalist messages. By controlling media outlets and funding content that aligned with their ideological goals, the Mercers effectively shifted the narrative environment: what stories got amplified, what voices were silenced, and how issues were framed. Beyond media, the Mercers financed influential think tanks like the Heritage Foundation and the Cato Institute. These institutions draft legislation, influence judicial appointments, and advise policymakers, often reflecting the Mercers' pro-business, anti-regulation agenda. This strategic funding helped ensure that key policy decisions aligned with their interests, whether it's tax cuts, deregulation, or judicial philosophies favoring corporate rights. From 2016 onward, Mercer's financial influence grew exponentially through direct contributions to super PACs, such as Make America No. 1. Over $30 million flowed from Mercer's family to these entities, which then spent vast sums on advertising, voter outreach, and lobbying. Their support also extended into the Trump transition team and the shaping of his early policy decisions, cementing a model where political influence is maintained through layered financial networks rather than transparent, accountable channels. The Koch family: the quiet architects of conservative power. While the Mercers played a pivotal role in data-driven campaigns and media control, the Koch family's influence has been more subtle, yet equally profound. Charles Koch and his family have quietly built a sprawling network dedicated to advancing libertarian, pro-business, and deregulation policies, often operating behind the scenes, shielded from public scrutiny. The Koch network, primarily through organizations like Americans for Prosperity, funnels billions into advocacy, grassroots organizing, and political campaigns. These groups host rallies, fund advertisements, and lobby lawmakers to push policies favoring tax cuts, deregulation, and a limited government. Their reach extends into nearly every congressional district, shaping the legislative landscape across the country. Koch's influence is amplified through complex financial arrangements, donor-advised funds, private foundations, and shell organizations that obscure the true source of their funding. This dark money allows them to finance attack ads, fund lawsuits challenging campaign finance laws, and support think tanks like the Heritage Foundation and the Cato Institute. These organizations craft policy proposals, draft legislation, and even vet judicial nominees, ensuring that a right-leaning pro-business worldview is embedded within the fabric of government. A recent manifestation of the Koch's ambitions is their support for Project 2025, a blueprint aimed at overhauling federal agencies to align with their business-friendly ideology. This initiative seeks to reshape government operations, weaken environmental regulations, and promote policies favorable to fossil fuel industries, objectives that mirror their long-standing economic interests. The Koch influence isn't confined to domestic policy. Their international counterparts and foreign donors, like Australian packaging magnate Anthony Pratt, also play roles in connecting business interests with U.S. policymaking. Pratt, for instance, has reportedly paid large sums to Trump-affiliated organizations and sought influence within the White House, leveraging his international business dealings to gain access and advantage. International power players and foreign billionaires. The influence of wealthy individuals isn't limited to domestic families. Foreign billionaires and international corporations have cultivated relationships with American politicians, seeking access, contracts, and regulatory favors. Anthony Pratt, a case study in global influence. Pratt's relationship with Trump exemplifies how foreign interests operate within U.S. politics. His meetings with Trump weren't mere photo ops. Reports suggest Pratt paid substantial sums to Trump-linked organizations, securing a foothold in policy discussions. Pratt allegedly sought information on U.S. defense and policy matters, aiming to use this knowledge for his business advantage. Such connections underscore how international billionaires can leverage political ties to open markets, secure defense contracts, or influence regulatory decisions, effectively extending their power across borders. Beyond Pratt, a global web of influence. Other international figures from the Middle East, Europe, and Asia have also contributed to the web of influence surrounding Trump and his administration. Their motives vary, from seeking access to U.S. markets and defense contracts to establishing joint ventures in industries like energy, technology, and infrastructure. These foreign donors often operate through secretive channels, making their influence difficult to trace but no less significant. The rise of dark money, concealed power in modern politics. Integral to understanding the influence of these billionaire families is the rise of dark money, a term that describes political spending made through opaque channels that hide the donor's identity. The post-Citizens United landscape. Since the 2010 Supreme Court decision in Citizens United, corporations, unions, and wealthy individuals have exploited legal loopholes to inject unlimited funds into politics. They do so through 501c4 social welfare organizations, LLCs, and other entities that are not required to disclose their donors. This has created a shadowy financial landscape where billions flow into election-related activities without transparency, staggering spending and its impact. In the 2024 federal elections alone, dark money groups spent over $1.9 billion, more than 30% of outside political expenditure, shaping the narrative with attack ads, issue campaigns, and grassroots mobilization. This untraceable money influences voter perceptions, debates, and ultimately, electoral outcomes, often favoring candidates aligned with the interests of the wealthy elite. Legal gray zones and regulatory gaps. These organizations can fund issue ads that promote or oppose candidates without directly coordinating with campaigns. They also support lawsuits challenging campaign finance laws, further eroding transparency. Foundations and nonprofits tied to wealthy families distribute millions in issue advocacy, often masking their true intent. Influence on policy, law, and public opinion. The power of these billionaire networks extends well beyond elections. They influence lawmaking, judicial appointments, media narratives, and public opinion, crafting a political environment that favors the wealthy and powerful, shaping legislation and tax policy. Research shows that legislative outcomes often reflect the preferences of those with the most financial influence. For example, the 2025 House Budget Plan protected estate tax breaks and lowered income taxes for the top earners, measures aligned with elite interests rather than the public good. Lobbying and think tanks. Billionaire-backed lobbying groups push for deregulation and lower corporate taxes. Think tanks like the Heritage Foundation and the Cato Institute produce research, draft legislation, and vet judicial nominees, ensuring that policies favor corporate interests and weaken protections for workers and the environment. Media control and narrative shaping. Investments in media outlets, online platforms, and social media campaigns allow these networks to steer public discourse. By buying struggling media outlets or funding documentaries and digital campaigns, they amplify narratives that support deregulation, oppose environmental protections, and promote populist resentment, all while drowning out alternative voices. The story of Donald Trump's billionaire backers reveals a profound truth about modern American politics. Behind the scenes, a small handful of families and international elites wield disproportionate influence, shaping policies, media narratives, and election outcomes. Their wealth and secrecy undermine the foundational principles of transparency and fairness, threatening the integrity of democracy itself. As voters, journalists, and policymakers, it's crucial to look beyond the headlines and ask, who funds the campaigns? Whose interests are truly being served? Only through vigilance, transparency, and reform can we hope to restore balance and uphold the ideals of representative government.